Hello, everybody. How y'all doing out there today? I'm back at you again with another edition of another episode. You know what I'm talking about? I'm talking about the Sabbath, and I haven't really made a lot of very good points on it. Although I am making some good value points on it, and if you have any questions or any comments about what I'm saying and what I'm saying now, because I know that I may not have all the answers from my head, but if you just leave whatever your comments are, I welcome all of your comments. I don't care what they are, because I know that talking about the Sabbath and the 7-day Sabbath, that is a very controversial, very sensitive topic. And when you're dealing with a subject like that, especially with preachers and pastors and ministers, the vast majority of them, they do not support Sabbath observance, as we know that it is the first day of the week. Sunday is the first day of the week, and Saturday is the seventh day of the week. And I can prove all of that more as I move forward, and I will show you give you some pieces of history of what the Sabbath is all about. But before I go into any of that and read any of this stuff here, I know this new channel I have is called Peter Garces. The Ten Commandments, Peter Garces. That's the name of this channel. So I have about approximately 6 channels that I have created, and I was debating in my mind earlier whether I wanted to do this here because for some reason I think we feel like we have to be real happy and joyful is to do something, you know what I mean? But I guess what I'm saying, I guess it's teaching me something too, that it's not really all about feelings. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of time most of us are controlled by our emotions and our feelings. You know what I'm saying? Not to be critical or nothing like that, but just because you're feeling bad or just because you don't feel the best, it does not necessarily mean that God is not working, or it doesn't necessarily mean that something nice can happen or somebody can be just nice to you. You can't go on feelings, because you could be feeling the worst and it can be the best of your time. You can be, a lot of people depend upon feelings, and it's really all about faith and believing. Like me, I was I had a little headache a couple of days ago, and I got over it, so I made up my mind. I said, you know what, in spite of how I'm feeling, and I was so, man, that fever was on me so bad until I could even hardly stand up. So I told myself, I said, you know what, I am going to get up off of this hand, and I am going to pray for myself that I will get healed. Now, I'm not a perfect person, and I'm, you know what I'm saying, I'm still struggling with some things, and I'm just, what I'm saying is, as us as an African American, I want to say that before I say anything else, I love you very much. African American men and women, I respect you very much. The fathers and all of, I just have a lot of respect for black men and women. I adore them because I know that we can relate to a lot of things that happened to us in slavery, and I'm tying this in. Some of you may be asking, well, how is you tying that in with the Sabbath? What does the Sabbath has to do with all of this here? The Sabbath, I believe to a degree that the Sabbath has everything in the world to do with all of these things, because it involves us having that spiritual rest that we should have. So if you don't mind me, I'm going to take a couple of minutes. I done put 4 minutes in already, and I'm going to read, it's entitled, you all know what I'm quoting from, this man here that I read from. I love reading his material because he makes some good value points. You know what I mean? And I'll be quoting from this page here. Who was the creator? Who was the creator? That's what it is. Who was the creator? Alright? Now I'm fixing to read, so here I go. It says, who was the creator? God, who brought the Sabbath into being. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. The same was in the beginning with God. All things were made by Him, and without Him was not anything made that was made. Okay, that's St. John 1:1-3. Okay. What I really need to point out here is that we're dealing with creation here. You know what I mean? The Sabbath was part of creation. It was not a part of the Mosaic Sabbath. What we have to understand, the Sabbath is singular. It's singular. It's not plural. The plural Sabbaths came into existence when after the fall of man, and then later on, the God had to institute what was called the sacrificial system. And so the sacrificial system, within the sacrificial system, was called the book of the law that was written by Moses. And Moses wasn't, what I would say, when the Sabbath was in existence, Moses was not even in existence at this time. So the Sabbath cannot be a Jewish law, because there wasn't no Jews when the Sabbath was created. The Jews did not come on the scene until like 5,000 and some years after the time of Christ. So you have to ask yourself a question. Abraham wasn't, he wasn't a Jew or whatever. If you say Adam and Eve, were they Jews? It doesn't say. They wasn't Jews. They was just created by God. And there wasn't no Jews during this time, because if you look in Exodus chapter 20 and verse 10, the Bible said that the seventh day is the Sabbath of the Lord thy God. That's what it says. It didn't say the 7-day Sabbath is the Sabbath of the Jews. It said the 7-day Sabbath is the Sabbath of the Lord thy God. And there are many ways. There are over 140 some reference to the Sabbath. And if you just leave your comments if you have any questions about what I'm saying. Now I'm fixing to go on. It says the word Greek's spokesman was the member of the Godhead family who did the creation. Verse 14 confirms the identity of the Word. And the Word was made flesh and dwelt among us. And we beheld His glory, the glory as of the only begotten of the Father, full of grace and truth. This verse and those following point to none other than Jesus Christ. He was the one who created and sanctified and set apart and ordained the Sabbath. So the word Sabbath simply means rest. In the Hebrew word, it means rest. That's what the word Sabbath means. You know, the word sanctify also means it's to set apart. For those of you who don't know what that word is or what it means to sanctify or set apart. So it's a sign that also that God sanctified and He set us apart. Chosen means is to be picked out. So He picked us out and He chose us. The account of the revealing of the manna, the account of the revealing of the manna, bread from heaven, is closely related to the Sabbath. This occurred before Israel reached Sinai and received the law. In other words, do you know that the Ten Commandments, if you go back and look in Genesis, and if you read carefully from Genesis 1, because Genesis has 1 through 50 chapters, 1 through 50. If you read it carefully and go through it real carefully, you will find out that the Sabbath was in existence. That you can read, if you pay close attention as you read it, in each one of the chapters, from Genesis chapter 1 all the way through 50, each chapter, and you just take your time and read, you'll find out that each one of the the commandments of the Ten Commandments is mentioned in each one of in Genesis chapter 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, all the way on to 35 or 40, all the way up to the 50th chapter of Genesis. You will find all 10 of the commandments spoken if you read carefully. And someday when I get some more time, I will try to bring some more of those answers to you here on YouTube. Alright? It said before the manna was given, some important instructions for gathering it were given in Exodus chapter 16 verses 4 through 5. Then said the Lord unto Moses, behold, I will rain bread from heaven for you, and the people shall go out and gather a certain rate every day, that I may prove them whether they will walk in my law or no. And it shall come to pass that there went out some of the people. And it shall come to pass that on The 6th day they shall prepare that which they bring in, and it shall be twice as much as they gather daily. And Israel was further instructed to gather only enough for each family's daily needs. Any manna left overnight would rot and bred worms. The only exceptions was that the double portion given on the 6th day. Now it goes to show you how important the Sabbath was. And I will get into the history of the Sabbath and find out who changed the Sabbath and all of those different things. Where did change come about? You know what I'm saying? Where did it came about? Because we know that it was changed. And it says the only exception was that the double portion was given on the 6th day would not deteriorate the following Sabbath morning. This miracle was intended to prove to Israel that God would provide for their needs on the Sabbath. So when God told them to gather a double portion of manna on the 6th day, so that they would not go out into the field, and so that they would not have to gather a certain rate of manna on the Sabbath. But we know how a lot of the Israelites was. They would not listen to God. A lot of us today, that's what happened to us. There are many scriptures in the Bible to support what I'm saying. It's true. Like if you go back and you look at how did we get to sun? In the Bible, the Israelites worshiped the sun. If you look in Ezekiel chapter 8 and verse 16, you will find out that the 25 priests of Israel, they adopted the practice of the sun god, and they kneeled and worshipped the sun as the sun arose in the sky. They kneeled and down and they worshipped the sun god in the sky as it arose in the east, and they turned their backs on the true God and kneeled toward the east and to worship the sun in the sky, not the S-O-N, the Son of God, but the S-U-N, the sun in the sky. And if you look in 2 Kings chapter 23 verses 1, 4 through 5, you will see how the same thing, how like I said, the Israelites, instead of them worshiping God, and that's what happened with Israel, they started adopting the other gods around them. They started worshiping it, and they started excuse me, they started worshiping the other gods around them, and they adopted these different types of gods. They adopted so many gods. I can't even remember all of the gods that they had that they adopted, and they used those gods as a substitute for the worship of the true God, and that's what they did, and things of that nature. So I got, 13, 14, 15. So I got about 2 more minutes. So let me see if I can make this clear. Verse 4 shows that God uses the Sabbath as a test commandment, that I may prove them whether they will walk in my law or no. This was to test the Israelites' response to God's instructions. The Sabbath is also a test for God's people today. Wow, that's powerful. And that's true. Notice, and it came to pass that there went out some of the people. And it came to pass that on the 6th day they gathered twice as much bread, 2 omers for one man, and all of the rulers of the congregation came and told Moses. And he said unto them, This is that which the Lord said, Tomorrow is the rest of the holy Sabbath unto the Lord. Bake that which you will bake today, and see it boil, that you will see thee, and that which remain overlaid up for you to be kept unto the morning. So I tell you what, the 15 minutes is just about up. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to come back and do it with another edition of another episode. So I will see you, and stay tuned, and I will be back. So God bless you, and I love you very much, and I love you African American men and women. So thank you. All right, bye.